born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes. Good there. Test.
Test.
Check.
Ooh.
Test.
I think I got that. Check 3 and 4 again.
Check.
Check.
Nice. Sweet. We are rolling. Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet for another episode. Here, as always, earned the as always with
I did.
Amber.
I got it back.
Yep, got it back.
Cool.
Amber and Zach.
Hello.
And Jake is with us as well today, so we got the full crew. How's everybody's weekend? We were just arguing, so Amber's a little pissed. Amber's mad at me.
You can sense it.
Yeah, we can sense it. The entire podcast audience can already sense it.
Good.
Good.
They weren't sure before. They
Yep,
are.
they are now. So we were talking about measurements of units of energy and calories and stuff, and she was trying to be the devil's advocate, and I believe lost, but she had points.
All right, if you're gonna go there, but let's not talk about it. So the weekend was.
Weekend was good.
Weekend was good.
We
We went to the fair. You always have good intentions going to the fair that you're going to try all the food that you see, but we literally never even see the places that we see on the list, or we never try them because the lines are always
Well, we
so
saw
long
one of
that-
them. What was the one?
The teriyaki place.
No, that
And that line was long all the time.
But what was it started with a G that someone said
Oh
last
no,
week?
croissantes.
Croissant, yeah.
Or whatever.
That we thought was a croissant.
Go there. You should go there Friday.
That should be, is it not?
What is that food?
No idea. We still
don't
never
know.
figured
Okay.
out.
But they didn't have a line.
It's right by like the saltwater taffy place. No, their
Yeah.
line wasn't too long, but
And next to our old timey photos that we did.
Yeah, those are cool.
way too
Yeah.
They're
expensive.
fun.
I don't remember them being that expensive.
No.
Whole
But I think it's
inflation.
because the guy said,
Right.
well, now that you have a group of 5, it like doubled in price. I swear. I'm like,
What?
Did Porter make it that much
Porter,
harder?
I guess.
Porter.
He was
Porter
on-
is the
Porter's the
reason.
problem.
Yeah, Porter's the
He
reason
took it up and
that tradition has not.
Well, I don't know if they do that because because after us there was a group of friends that came in, so maybe they charge more
to split up
the
the
cost. But
you're
that's not
still
fair
only
for a
getting
family.
You're still only getting like 2 hard copies of them.
I know, but you have the sitting fee is what I mean. The atmosphere and everything, you're paying for that too. It's just I don't know. I really don't know why, but it was $85 and we're never doing it again.
Yep. We create our own backdrop like that, and just
It's fast though. Like you walk in,
we can
they
get,
look at you, they dress you,
for $85 we could probably find Goodwill dress.
Yeah, you could probably keep
garb
it then.
to
It's like a
to do
costume
that every
party.
year.
Like if there's a costume
Yes.
party in the cards per se.
Right. We talked
Yeah.
about a costume party like
then who's
coming
gonna?
up.
We're gonna do a selfie style. Like who's gonna take the picture?
Well, we have a camera right here with a stand, and we can
Nice
use that.
stand,
too.
iPhones have
No, but they
And
squeak
the stand,
little
yeah,
toys, and
speaking
they're
of
like
the nice stand-
smile.
And
They
the
do a lot
stand
of behind the
has
scenes work.
Well, I think our athletes would be
is
able to
duct tape.
look at the camera
Okay,
themselves.
alright.
Though.
Yeah.
Right. No, but it was fun. I'm glad it's
Yeah,
over,
the fair's
but
good. I'm glad it's over.
We're done. We're
But
not going
I
back.
talked about I'd like to at some point be able to sit at the top of what's the Pete's jalapeno Pete's or one of the other ones. Sit on like the top row balcony and just people watch and
Oh,
drink
yeah.
for the afternoon.
and watch the concert because you can see the
Yeah.
concert just as good
That was
right
perfect,
there. But okay, so you're going Friday.
Yes.
Jake,
you're
did
going
you go? Are
Friday.
you a
I
fair
have
goer
not
or
made
no?
it. If I go, it'll be on Saturday.
Okay. Anything you guys want to eat while you're there?
I don't know.
I know
No,
it's
no. I always
so
love-
overwhelming that
It's just there's a lot to
There's a
fit
lot.
into like
Yeah.
the 2 hours that I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll do
I
it,
always
but
love cheese curds. Cheese
Yeah,
curds
those
are
are
like
good.
kind of my thing.
corn dogs
so,
are really good there.
Yeah.
I had a corn dog. What did I have?
Tenderloin's
I had a
really
corn
good.
dog and a gyro.
euros.
I've never had a gyro.
We got a
And the
bucket
cookies.
of cookies.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A bucket of
Bucket of
cookies.
cookies.
That's like a
Definitely
to-go
worth
thing.
it.
I don't like need them while I'm there, so
Right.
it doesn't-
That's what we
I
do
do,
on
and I
the way
usually eat
out.
the
You
whole
take
bucket
those-
while I'm there.
They're good. And that building now that they serve them in, that is
Yeah, that's
a
huge.
big
They
ass
have like
building for cookies.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting. And so, like, if you haven't been there, it's probably 8,000 square foot or more, 10,000 square foot building that has just dedicated to cooking and handing them out.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
It's like booming
But
business.
it does make it a lot better, a lot faster to be in there. So
Do you guys go to any concerts? You going to any Friday night?
Not this year, no.
Sam Hunt, that Saturday night was insane.
I think
There
Friday
were
is.
so many people there.
Yeah.
I think
Like
Friday
Shake
is Five
coming.
Finger Death Punch, maybe. I think is
There
what I
we
heard on
go.
the radio station, so I'd go to that.
Nice.
Probably an interesting crowd there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I haven't heard Five Finger Disc. I haven't heard their music for a long time.
I dabble. I like Five Finger
I
Death
don't know
Punch.
if
I do
I've
too.
never even
I've
heard
I've never
of
heard
it.
of
that
Five
band,
Finger
so-
Death Punch.
No, is it
No.
There's
Like
a lot.
the
we
hard
I have, a,
rock?
gu- I have a
It's
guess of what
hard
kind of music they play, but
I mean, you can about imagine. I would think.
Like heavy
If it's what it
metal or
sounds
hard
like.
rock?
Yeah.
Heavy
Oh
metal.
gosh.
I usually listen to them like
I don't know.
when
You
I'm
wouldn't
lifting
call
in
it
the
heavy
gym.
metal.
I don't know. It's
would
not
you?
like like
Like
There's-
Metallica? Is it
no.
like that kind? Or
It's like
Korn?
I'll play in the gym.
Kind of
sometime.
screamo.
Maybe at the noon session.
It's
today.
more screamo.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not like there's music that scares me. Like it doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
You know,
It was stuff.
it's
that
like
we
it's a
listened to
step
prior.
down from that.
It was stuff we listened to prior to like a football game in the locker
Like
room.
it gets played on like rock stations.
Okay.
You know? Like it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
so it's not as bad as it
Excessively,
sounds.
no.
So today, sorry if this is your first time joining us, the Krave Gym or the Gym Closet is a Krave Gym podcast. We talk about how to be successful, how to live like an athlete, how to and living like an athlete means living great, and so going to the fair is part of that. So, but no, we wanted to touch on. So we do our craving. That's what we did last week, talking about the fair. But do we have a craving for this week?
Yes, ice cream shop.
All right, so getting into what your favorite ice cream shop is. We didn't have any ice cream at the kids did at the fair.
Kids did. That was the first thing they got was ice cream.
Yep. So getting into our craving, what is your favorite ice cream shop?
Let's see. Here.
Have you had ice cream story? We were going to, what was the new one in
Oh,
Waukee?
Home Sweet Cone.
Yeah,
Home Sweet Cone. We were working towards that. We were going to walk towards it with the kids, and we got halfway there, and I completely misunderstood
you thought it was
where
like
it was
the
at.
Jethro's.
Yeah.
or
Oh
the,
no, it's like
And
by
it's
like
way
Central
down.
So we
Standard.
live
It's
So
like
we
down
were
by
about
Jethro's. So
halfway.
we-
We got to that
Barn Town.
Rita's,
oh,
and then I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, it's all the way over there."
I was gonna
Okay,
say that's
let's
like an
just
extra
go
like
this
half
way.
mile. Yeah.
So then
Well,
we
and
just
it's
went to
funny
Rita's.
because every time I ask him to go for a walk, he's like, okay. He doesn't really enjoy them.
But for ice
Sometimes he
cream.
does. Depends on
For
how
ice
long
cream,
we're
yeah,
going.
There's an angle in
So I got home and I'm like, should we walk down to the Home Sweet Cone? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, wow, like it's a long way. I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna put up a fight. So we start going and we walk by Rita's, and I'm like, should we just stop at this one because this is probably closer than obviously it's closer than the other one, and no one's had a meltdown yet, so it's probably safe. He's like, no, let's just keep going. I was like, all
like
right,
it's
we're
like
doing this.
Right, I can
like another
see the
block.
building. It's like a block away.
So we get to
Wrong.
Barntown. I was like,
Way
should we just go way down on the street so we can go across? He's like, oh, it's way down there. I was like, he's like, no. So let's turn around. That is way
We're
too
going
far.
to Rita's.
I also have a story about Home Sweet Cone. Have you guys actually? Did you
We
guys?
haven't been
Maybe
there.
they haven't been there
I made it.
yet.
Yeah. So no free ads, but Home Sweet, it was really, really good. Like it was. Well, okay. So we went in like a Sunday afternoon, and so it was already gonna be a busy time. But I mean, it was like the line was so the counter's right in the middle, and it went like down the counter, down one wall, down another wall, down the third wall, like all the way to the. I mean, it was like there were probably 30 people in line ahead of us, and it did go. I mean, we were probably in line for 20, 30 minutes, you know. But it was.
Right.
I got an ice cream sandwich. You can build your own ice cream sandwich.
Ooh.
So the bottom of my ice cream sandwich was a giant brownie the size of my face.
Oh my god.
And then I got cookies and cream ice cream in between, and then a giant cookie the size of my face on top.
No
So it was
way.
like brownie, cookies and cream ice cream, cookie, chocolate chip cookie, like all warm.
Oh, that
It
sounds
was-
so good.
I had to like,
Damn.
I had to literally, but the only problem though with it was like, I was thinking it'd be like in like a bowl with a spoon, and I got there and like what they gave me for a spoon was like the equivalent of like a tongue depressor. It was like a wooden stick. And I'm like, I tried poking it. I'm like, this literally does not even like cut through the cookie, let alone everything. So like, I literally had to go in the parking lot where I ate it and just like unhinge my jaw,
Right, to get-
eat it in the parking lot.
That is
But
awesome.
it
No, they're
was
always. It looks like they're always
amazing.
sold out
So
of ice cream.
Sai said that he went and they went before noon. They said they got there like thinking that it was already going to be open, so they got there like 11:45.
Oh yeah.
And so they thought that they were the only ones there, and noon hit, and they said it was like just ants on a
Yeah.
sucker. Everybody just jumped out and ran up there, and they said they waited in line for 20 minutes too.
Yeah.
And they thought that they were the only ones there,
Right, yeah.
being there 15 minutes early.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
it
I've
was
heard good
really
things
good.
about it.
though.
Sounds worth it
Super
though. We're
Yeah,
gonna have to
for
go there
sure.
sometime. And
Okay,
it'll fit in your
so-
macros if you don't eat anything.
Right.
or
If you don't eat
the rest of the
anything,
week,
just
maybe,
protein.
but-
if you drink
shakes for
protein
3 days.
shakes, then it'll fit in your macros.
Yeah, so we're gonna use that as a celebration day,
Yeah.
as a refeed day.
Yeah.
There you go. Carbs galore.
Yes.
So 2 people said Black Cat.
I have not been there, but I've heard really good
Where's
So
things.
where's it
that
at?
So this is what Haley told me. Because I don't know, because they finally got like a permanent location, is what I understood.
Oh,
at
were
least.
they like a?
It was
pop-up
like
shop?
it was like a pop up type thing. Like they, I think they might have shared it maybe, or like been kind of in like, kind of, I don't know. I think they shared it with somewhere else or something, and they were like open on like a couple days a week here and there. But like it was like one of, and I don't know if that maybe that was a novelty of it too.
Okay.
Was like, oh, Black Cat's open, like you gotta go now. But I just read somewhere like when Home Sweet Cone got their place, that Black Cat, I think they're down in Des Moines maybe, but I've heard that's really good though. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I've never been there, but I've heard it's really good.
What are some other selections here?
Frozen Custard on Southeast 14th and Waterous or something.
Watchers.
Yeah, thanks.
Never heard of that.
Never heard
I
of
have
that.
not either.
South
It's
side.
over on the south side.
Culver's.
Culver's
Culver's
classic.
has some good.
They got
Culver's got a good
Rita's
custard.
Rita's custard's similar to Culver's. If you haven't been to Rita's, they do like an icy
Yeah.
Yeah.
mixed with the custard. That's
Yeah,
what
it's pretty good. Otherwise, they do like your
you can do Blizzard.
Yeah, well,
whatever.
that's Whitey's and then Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen also good.
Yeah.
Not a bad list.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, do we have a craving for next week yet,
We don't.
or this or that?
We
to.
will.
we need to have,
We
Uh,
will.
we
We'll
will.
think
We will.
about
All right.
it.
So, stay tuned on all of our social. We'll have our craving out, and we will get votes for that. We'll probably do a this or that something coming up for. Who knows? We'll brainstorm here off air and figure out what we want to do. So keep an eye on that if you want to vote for your favorite, whatever we do. I wanted to give, we have a couple things as far as shout outs that we wanted to do. So this week, we have a couple athletes of the week. We didn't do an athlete of the week last week, but we did have one. So athlete of the week last week, huge shout out to Stephanie Fishback. She trains at the West Des Moines location, does an awesome job, and she got the athlete of the week last week. And then this week is Erica Adams.
Mhm.
She trains over at Waukee location. Anything to say about Erica Adams? I'm not over there as much.
I think we've talked about her before.
I
Just
think we
how
have, yeah.
just a busy
But
busy person, but she wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, looks forward to it.
yes,
Kicks
always has a
butt,
good
and then-
attitude.
yeah, she
great
does.
attitude
Yeah.
always. And yeah, like you said, she's super busy. She's a mom, a couple kids. I think.
Three. She has
yeah,
three kids too. Yeah.
And every once in a while, I do get the text, and this is what I appreciate about her is that she'll always text me afterwards and be like, "Hey, kids didn't sleep at all last night.
Yeah.
Can you reschedule me for tomorrow?" And I think that's really cool too. Is that 'cause not everybody does that. You know, sometimes people, if they miss their Monday, because she's always Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes if someone has something come up, because that can happen at 5 a.m. when you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always work out, but she's always hey, can you reschedule me for Tuesday 5 a.m.
Yeah. So if I see her on a Tuesday, I'm like, shit
Kids
must have hit the fan
didn't sleep,
on
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Yeah. The other thing that I always like about Erica too, and I know that you get this too from her, but she is going back to a couple weeks ago. Our word of the week is she's super curious, and she's always asking how she can get the most out of her training, out of her nutrition, out of supplements. Like I get messages from her all the time, and I know you do too,
Mhm.
which I love. I want all of our athletes to do that, and message us. And she's always asking, hey, here's kind of where I'm at right now. What supplement should I take? What would you recommend for this? Or hey, I've hit this goal. Maybe for like a weight goal. Now, what should I be striving for next? As far as a performance goal. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she's just always asking how she can optimize and how she can get the most out of her training and nutrition, supplements, and everything. And that's what we're here for as coaches, and that's what I think we all want all of our athletes to do is shoot us a message. I mean, shoot us a message on Facebook. I don't care.
Right.
Message me, text me. I don't care. Like ask me in the gym.
Yep.
And that's what we're here for, not just in sessions, but outside as well. So
And that's what it's all about. Living like an athlete inside and outside the gym is what Krave is all about. And to parlay into that is shout out to all of our athletes. We were honored by the Special Olympics, something pretty cool here. So every year they do a health leadership award. And so this year, this prestigious award is presented in recognition of your outstanding leadership in Special Olympics Iowa health programming and your ongoing commitment to advancing inclusive health for people with intellectual disabilities. So, speaking of outside of the gym, what we do at Krave is we have a power partner every season. A lot of times it's a charity, it's an event, it's a group of people that we work with outside of the gym to really help our community, help the people in our community that may not train with us, give other people opportunities that may not have the opportunities that we have. And so it was an honor for us to accept this cool award. So we got this award here, if you can see it on the camera, from Special Olympics. This one was actually our 2020 award, so they do it from the previous year. But this last season for our Condition to Conquer, we worked with Special Olympics as our power partner. And so I want to give a huge shout out to all of our athletes. We wouldn't be able to affect change and help these organizations as much as we do without the curiosity of the athletes, without the want and the need to have a higher purpose, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but having that need to help the community and do as much as we can outside of the gym as a team. So we'll have this award up at the gyms, but it is because of our athletes that we are able to do things like this and get these awards. So huge shout out to all of our Krave athletes. That is an awesome award and an honor to accept that. And with that, we'll get into some of our chalk talk. So we talked a little bit about a higher purpose, right? For our outside of the gym, living like an athlete, and that's a big thing in what we do. But what we kind of want to talk about today is how our program is periodized and how we do what we do at Krave in each season. So we have seasons that are differentiated depending on our emphasis of training and also our power partner that we're working with, what all of those emphases. That's definitely a difficult word.
You can tell we're not English majors.
Yes. So anyway, with that emphasis in mind, our emphasis is we're going to talk about kind of what to think about in the season, and so the purpose of the season overall. So what is the purpose of this season, being striking season this season? Our emphasis is kind of a mixed bag of power as far as the physical side of things. Is the power, is the endurance, is the speed that you will use on the bag and expend that on the bag. So thinking about each season, next season we're getting into endurance. So again, next season we're talking about elongated LISS or miss steady state type of endurance season. So now we're working on our lung capacity, our heart capacity, the ability to do more cardio is kind of our cardiovascular health, is kind of what we're working on next season. But every season, all of our athletes in our program need to ask ourselves, okay, what's the purpose, or know the answer to this, and be curious and ask your coaches if you don't know the answer to this, is what is the purpose of the season? Even to hone in on that a little bit more is what is the purpose of this round within this season, right? So in like next season, we're getting into endurance, right? So the purpose of strength round in an endurance season is to work on muscular endurance. And so we'll talk more specifically about that in our Chalk Talk next season. But what is our emphasis? Our overall season emphasis is endurance, that means we still have balance, so we still have strength, but our strength focus is different. Our strength focus and the purpose of our strength within that season means that we're working on muscular endurance, which means we're working on higher reps and getting more out of that lighter weight than what we would in a strength season, for example. And then what the purpose of that specific movement is within that round. So now those are questions that you need to be asking your coach too. If you don't know what your RDL, what the purpose of that RDL is, then that's the stuff that you should know, and that way you can know that if I'm doing an RDL, I need to be concentrating on the muscle endurance, because we're in endurance season, of my hamstring specifically, and that's where I should feel it. So those are the things that we as coaches need to answer for you guys, and that's the stuff that you should know. And so, you know, if you do move somewhere where you have no idea, you can where you don't have a Krave and you're jumping into a gym, you know the purpose, you know why you're doing an RDL, you know that movement, and that also increases the value of that movement and why the buy-in of that movement within our program. So those are the different things that we wanted to talk a little bit about today. Is the three things for our program is what's the purpose of the season, what's the purpose of this round within the season, and what's the purpose of this movement within the round. And so if you can answer those three questions with everything that you're doing, then you're in a good spot, and you know why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing most of the time, you kind of have a hard time doing it. You know,
yeah, you just lose interest, or your mind's just not.
Yeah. Well, one thing for me too that was really interesting for me was like when I went off to, so I lifted and worked out obviously when I was in middle school and high school and all that stuff, playing sports. But when I got into college and started taking specific kinesiology and exercise science classes and learned how, you know, your body moved and how your muscles worked and pulled and everything like that, it really changed like how I viewed my own training, and it really was something cool. I think that, you know, instead of just thinking about, I remember like there was a day I was doing like lat pull downs, for example. I remember this like vividly, and like before I would just get in on a lat pull down machine, pull it down a bunch of times, and I was like, this is for my back. Yep. And like and that's what I knew. And for 99% of people, that's what it is. Like this is a movement for my back. My back will get bigger if I do these. But then like when I realized and I put together, I was like, okay, in anatomy class today, I learned that my lats attach here and here, and by doing this, they're contracting and pulling these bones and doing it this way. And I remember thinking, I changed kind of how I sat or something, and it completely changed how it felt. And it was like this like mind-blowing like moment for me.
And that mind-muscle connection is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you know where it's supposed to hit and you feel it hit that, you're like,
I was like, holy crap, you know.
Now I know why I'm doing
and like
this.
Another good example for a lot of people is like the RDL example. Yeah. Because so many people that I talk to are like, oh yeah, RDL, I feel that in my lower back a lot. That's awesome. I was like, well, you shouldn't. It's not what we want. It should be your hamstrings. You know? So I mean, a lot of it is stuff like that where, like you said, why are you doing that movement? You know, so for agility, it might be, you know, why are we doing box jumps this season, or why are we doing, you know, rope slams right now, you know, and that might be different than why are we doing, you know, these RDLs, like more of a strength movement, which is, I think it's super important when we're doing these strength movements to figure out where exactly you should be feeling it and what muscles you should be working in that movement. Because if you don't know, and a lot of times it's something, you know, even people that are, you know, thinking, you know, oh, I'm bench pressing for my back, you know, well, and because people think that, you know, sometimes, you know, and because you do,
I mean, you're stabilizing your back. So like, there's some times where I'll be benching and my back will cramp up. It doesn't mean that I'm actually training my back benching. But so I could see how some people think that, oh, if I feel anything in my back.
Or your arms. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, bench press for my biceps. You know, just because, you know, for a lot of people, that's, you're moving your arms, so you think that you are working your arms.
Right. Yeah,
which,
that makes sense. And,
you know,
and going back to even a broader scope of things, if you are in agility and you're not going 100% to work on speed during agility, you might think that the agility and our endurance are very similar, or or whatever, that there's a crossover there. And while we may do sprints and endurance, we're not worried about the balance and the movement and everything. We're worried more about the effect on cardiovascular and whether you're getting the overall effects from endurance versus the coordination and the balance and the speed training that you're doing from. And there's some crossover, but that's what we're worried about in agility. And so thinking about those and being able to separate those in your head really help to produce the program that we're after. And so obviously, if you guys haven't picked up on yet, we do a word of the week every week. This word of the week is purpose. So knowing the purpose, the whole Chalk Talk was about purpose, knowing the programming purpose and all that kind of stuff. So we did talk now about kind of the physical purpose of training and all that kind of stuff. Now we can get into kind of an overall life, the outside of the gym, talking about our power partners and our purpose over profit as far as our company goes. That's one of the biggest things that we talk about, and the purpose over profit means that we're helping more people than that's what we're worried about, and in doing so ultimately we can be a prosperous business. But the focus has to be on the purpose. And why are we doing stuff outside of the gym? Well, we're helping kids with intellectual disabilities, or helping people that may not be able to afford a home when we're working with Habitat for Humanity, helping animals that don't have a home when we're working with ARL. So those things that we're doing outside of the gym really help our athletes and our team focus on a purpose that's higher than just go to gym, get better body. You know what I mean? Like if that's ultimately a great goal, and we lead to that as far as the results that are driven through Krave. But if that's your only thing, and even in going through life, if your purpose is selfish in any way and not helping other people, that's where you are going to feel empty at the end of the day. You could be very successful, have a ton of money, and I've talked to a bunch of people with a ton of money that have been super successful in that element of life, with making a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. And they said that if I didn't have a higher purpose, then if money was my purpose, I'd feel super empty. So the fact that I do X, Y, and Z to elevate my purpose and help these other people with the money that I have, that's what makes the money a success to me, is because I can use that for a higher purpose. And so the definition of purpose is the reason or for which something is created or exists. And so I was listening to a couple podcasts this last week, and one of them was just knowing your purpose and the reason that you exist and the reason that you're here and living is a huge, that's everybody's question, right? Why am I here? What am I doing in life? And ultimately, in order to be successful, you have to hone in on that purpose and live through that purpose. And so that's kind of why we're talking about it today when it comes to outside of the gym. And one of those things, as far as connecting with other words of the week, is having the curiosity to explore different purposes. What do you like doing? What gives you satisfaction in your life? And I know for a lot of coaches, it's talking about, my purpose has always been helping other people achieve X, Y, and Z, feel good about themselves physically, be successful in a sport, whatever that case might be. And I know that a lot of us coaches, that's our purpose, and that's an awesome purpose. And so that's what the reason a lot of us got into this industry, right? But not everybody is a coach. And so I implore everybody to take some action steps. And number one this week is identify what is your purpose. What are you drawn to? And taking some time to kind of to create the environment where you can kind of sit back and say, okay, what do I love doing? If I didn't have to do anything for money, what would I be doing? What are some interests that I have? What do I want to be? What do I want to spend my time doing? And how is that in my life a purpose, and how is that helping other people? Because a lot of what we do here at Krave, and definitely what we do here at Krave as a team, is helping other people, and that's the main purpose of the company. And so in that, your life is going to be more successful if you can identify what that purpose is. And it may be something as easy and as simple as making someone else feel good on a daily basis. Like those different things you can do. It may be complicated to the point where you have to be super successful in business or to make a lot of money to help that purpose, right? If your purpose in your life is to solve world hunger, then there's obviously small things that you can do with no money to chip away at that. But if what drives you and that's what makes you want to do what you do, then you're going to have to find a way. You're going to have to be an expert, which is a sneak preview of next week, but you're going to have to find a way to make money doing that and be able to have new systems, get a way to help different people that are in those situations. So today, or this week, the one thing that I want all the listeners, all of our athletes to do is just identify what your purpose is on a higher level than my purpose is to go to work and bring home a paycheck. It may have to do with your family and providing happiness for those people that are close to you. All of those things, identify what it is that you love to do. And so the one action step is identify, and you might have to sit down and take some self-inventory and say, okay, if money wasn't an issue, I don't care about having to go to work to collect a paycheck. What would I do that I just love doing? And for a lot of us, it's coaching. So we're able, and I think a lot of coaches have taken the step to be able to do what they love and what their purpose is and what calls them, and figured out a way to live in that realm and make money doing that. And I think everybody would be more successful and identify those things, but you have to know what that is first. An example that was given to me, or that was on this podcast that I listened to, was butterflies. Like if you're, and I'll change it to like bees, right? If bees is your purpose and you want to help the earth and create more bees, there's companies out there that are literally bee companies started because there's a shortage of bees, right? So now become an expert on bees, start selling beehives, and that's what this group has done. Is they've had a purpose, that's what made them happy, and they were able to make a living on it and do it every single day. So that's our word of the week, and the action step is this week is identify what that purpose is, and we'll talk a little bit next week about once you identify it.
And I think there's podcasts out there and books, obviously, that help you. Like if you don't know what your purpose is, there's books you can read and stuff to really dive down deep. Because one podcast I listen to, it's like draw a line, exactly what you're saying. What makes you happy? What fulfills you? And then what are the things you absolutely hate doing? And that can kind of lead you to your purpose. Because I know, some people are like, I don't know what that is. They really don't know what fills them up or any of that. And so it could take some homework on your end to...
So that's a great part of identify. So that might be a tool that we use this week, is if you having a hard time identifying what it is, make a list, draw that line and say, here's all these things that I love doing. And kind of like I was saying, if I didn't have to make money today, what would I do? And then here's a line of all the shit I hate to do, and how do I eliminate these things? And you're going to always have to do some stuff that you don't like to do, but how can I shorten this list, lengthen this list, and have an ultimate purpose and feel like I'm making a difference?
Right.
And not just feel like you're making a difference, but make a difference. And that's what I love getting these awards for. We've gotten the Spirit of Christmas Award from the Salvation Army. We've gotten this now Health Leadership Award. Like, that's satisfying to me, knowing that our company has made a difference to the point where someone else acknowledged it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know internally that what we do makes a difference. As coaches, we make a difference in our athletes' lives, but also as a business and as a team of athletes and coaches, now we're making a difference in the community and making a difference in other people's lives. And that kind of award really signifies that and shows that someone else acknowledges that. And that's super cool to me. And that means more to me than, whatever's on the checklist of things to do today. You know what I mean? And so getting through some of the things that we have to do to be able to achieve things like this and get the acknowledgement that that says other people see what we're doing, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to do stuff that I don't like to do to do that. But are you willing to do a bunch of stuff that you don't like to do in that right-hand column if you're not getting the purposeful achievement or reward or whatever that comes from it? You know, if you're just collecting paycheck and your purpose is money in your bank account and you're having to do a shitload of stuff you don't like to do, then that money becomes really unsatisfying.
Well,
and there comes a point to where that's just not worth it.
And it's consistency, because we didn't get these awards the first year, you know,
Well,
and
right,
we kept
yeah,
consistent
right.
with it and kept going, and then just the momentum builds, and then that's when
Definitely.
these awards, you know,
Yeah.
happen too.
Yeah.
So it takes time, but good things take time. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I have one thing. I'll try to keep it fast. I have I'm coming your way, noon sessions. Don't worry.
All right.
But I was having a conversation with one of my nutrition athletes, you know, I think it was just last weekend. She's been kind of, you know, she's been struggling with, you know, different stressors and different things like that, you know, related to work and things like that. And one of the things that I think I hear a lot of people from that I've heard, you know, my whole life, so I think it's just something that people think is normal now, is people will talk about, you know, something they like to do, and they'll say, you know, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if I could just, you know, do this for a job, or wouldn't it be so cool if you know, this is something I like, wouldn't it be cool if I could do something with that? And why can't you?
Right,
It's kind of
exactly.
it's kind of what I told her, and I was like, it's as simple as doing it, and that's a very, very high level and easy way of thinking about it. And you know, for some people that might be going and getting a degree and going and getting something that you don't have, and so maybe it can't be today. But at the end of the day, like, if it's something that you're passionate about and something that you care about and something that you know would improve your life to a point of making that worth it, like, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Because people are stuck in these jobs that they hate, and for years and years and years, and they're just slogging through life,
Right.
and they're like, oh man, I wish I could just do that instead. Then do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And that was the
do it.
interesting thing on when I podcast is that butterfly example. Like, that's just or a bee example. Like, that's just out there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's just something that if you find yourself doing a bunch of research, not getting paid for it,
Yeah.
doing a bunch of research and becoming an expert on bees, like, that's, I mean, if you're doing that pro bono, then you're obviously interested in that stuff.
Right.
Make a business out of that.
Why can't
do
you? Yeah.
those different things?
Why not?
That, you
Why
know,
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
And that's-
take steps to do it.
Well, and I think
you know?
you're a perfect example of
Yeah.
all this, because
Yeah.
you
Start a bee podcast.
Right. Do
because
it.
you were
know?
you were coaching for us. We didn't have the hours for you, so then you took a corporate job.
Yeah.
But then I think you just sat there and hated it.
I hated
and
every
realized,
second of
yeah.
every day. Yeah.
And so you're
it was
like, well, I'm
awful.
going to figure a way to, you know, earn more hours at the gym, build
Yeah.
my personal training clientele up, and be able to do what I love. And you
Yeah.
did it. Like, I'm sure it was scary. There was fear
Yeah, well,
involved,
yeah.
because it's not a guaranteed paycheck until you get your training, you know, your
Right.
clients
Well,
up and
and then,
going.
yeah.
But you did it, and you did it in 2 weeks.
Right. And
So
that's
it's
kind of the thing is
possible,
it
it's
was.
doable,
I mean,
but it's scary, and I think fear ultimately stops people from
I think that's
achieving,
like
chasing.
It totally
their goal.
does. It
Like,
totally
it's
does.
I
a-
followed the same path as Zach. I was in a
Yeah.
corporate job that I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't sit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
I need to
Right.
be on my feet. I need to be like working with people one-on-one, because I got to do that in college. I didn't get to do
Right.
that with my full-time job. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I've had enough of this. I need to take that
Right.
lead. It was scary as hell.
Scary,
right.
I was the same,
right.
like fresh out of college, middle of a pandemic.
Right.
I've never had to like leave a job and go find another one in the real world.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
you know,
And I mean,
did it. And I'm loving
yeah,
every second
right,
of it.
and,
Right.
and you, like, Zach in 2 weeks got like almost a full-time schedule because he had been there
Yeah.
for a year.
Right.
You came in, nobody knew you. No, you had no, background with our athletes, and you built up almost full-time, at
Mhm.
least a full-time schedule now in a couple months.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure that was a difficult move to from high, because it was with Hy-Vee
Hy-Vee
corporate
Kids
type
Fit,
stuff.
corporate stuff.
Yeah. And so making that move to being able to see and have on hands-on type of thing. So both of you guys are great examples of seeing that your purpose was beyond the desk and making the move to get in that direction. I think both of you guys have great trajectories moving forward as well. So yeah, I think it happens. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
And there's beehive companies out there right now
Yeah.
that people started just by taking steps to do it.
And
So
yeah,
it's
you just can't let that. Well, like you said, Amber, it's like fear. And being
Yeah.
scared
there's
of
like a
the
thing-
instability of,
Yeah.
of the thing that can make it maybe unstable. Because yeah, like you said, I was at Wells Fargo, and yeah, it was something where I got my same paycheck every 2 weeks over and over and over and over and over again, and that's awesome and that's great. And for some people, that stability is awesome and you need it because maybe your purpose is providing for your family, and
Right.
that's awesome. But
For you, it
But you
just
can't-
to
wasn't-
me,
yeah.
and that was
get
a
it to the
goal,
point
and
where you're-
exactly, and I
Yeah.
wanted to provide, and it's something where it was a weird time because it was COVID, and I was engaged, and I got married actually before I came back full time,
Yeah.
so I had to take that into account too, and I mean that had to be part of my purpose as well, is I have to provide for, do my part for me and my wife, and eventually my kids within a couple of years, and figure out a way to do that, but. And fortunately, my wife was super, super supportive, and her family, and
which
my
always
family
helps.
Yeah, I mean, and I couldn't have done it. It was something that I had to run by her, obviously. And I mean, we even met. Me and Haley and Tyler, we met and had to figure it out together. So
Right.
Luckily, she was super supportive.
And that's another huge thing,
And
is you
that-
gotta
you
have the
need that,
support of a
yeah,
spouse.
absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm sure people feel like they're on an island by themselves.
Right.
To be like,
Right.
okay,
Like
well,
that
I don't
instability
know if
thing, it's hard, to start a B company. If
you're the sole provider for the family, and you're
right,
gonna go
and all of a
take that,
sudden I'm gonna be like, hey, Haley, I'm just gonna.
go start a bee farm.
my very stable job for us and our 3 kids, and
Right.
I'm just gonna
But that's
get rid of that.
The
and
great
start,
thing about the internet today is you can do these things that, like, people don't understand. You can expand, like, time is valuable.
Oh,
you
gosh,
can
yeah.
now with the
Oh, yeah.
internet go home from your 9 to 5 and do beekeeping for the
Right.
next 4 or 5 hours. If you love doing it, that you are going to do that anyway.
Right.
So like you're
Find a way
probably
to get paid for
yeah,
it.
you're probably doing that every weekend anyway.
Right.
If that's your purpose, if that's what you love doing, you're out back making beehives and doing stuff like that anyway. So now just hone that in and find a way to make money on it.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that next week because I think we're about at time. So next week, tune in. We have expertise word of the week, and we are going to talk a little bit more about this topic. And once you find your purpose, we'll be getting into that. But remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Don't break that one now, Zach.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.